Under the black sky, I know you wake to shine, 'cause I can see right through you. Every color of you.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Badass Women of Hearthstone tournament. I'm smileykris, and today I'm joined by dragonrider DK. How are you going, dragonrider? I think she's going well, but it looks like we're having a couple of technical issues there. So hopefully we get dragonrider onto the call soon. In the meantime, I'll tell you a little bit about what we're here for today. So today we've got a game from the North American bracket of the Badass Women of Hearthstone tournament. There's two brackets, an EU one and an NA one. For today for you, we've got an all-Canadian fight. So we've got Teebs coming up against shadowmisstep. This game's actually a replay of last weekend's WESG women's final, where Teebs won 3-1 against shadowmisstep. And that was a great game. If anyone hasn't watched that one, I'd recommend going and chasing down the VODs. Are really good, really well played by both players. That game was Conquest, and today in the Badass Women of Hearthstone tournament, we're playing Last Hero Standing. So we may see a very different outcome today. All right. So hopefully we've got Dwayne jumping in now. Or perhaps not. Okay, so.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. How are you feeling now?
All right. A little better now that I'm here. We're good.
Excellent. Yeah. Always tricky to iron out those technical issues at the start. So I was just saying that today's match in the Americas bracket of the Badass Women's Hearthstone tournament is a rematch of last weekend's WESG Canadian final. So very exciting. Did you happen to catch that one at all?
I did not catch that one, but I am pretty excited to get to catch this one.
Yeah, it should be great. So they're both fabulous players. Perhaps, Donnie, are you able to take us through what the players have brought for their list for today?
Yeah, no problem. Well, it looks like Teebs is bringing Even Paladin, Death Rattle Hunter, Shudderwalk, and Malyghost Druid. And shadowmisstep had the Heal Zulok, Odd Rogue, Odd Paladin, and Malyghost Druid. The Paladin was banned, actually, for shadowmisstep, and Teebs' Malyghost Druid has been banned. So I feel a little bit unsure of that. I think looking at the lineup, I might have actually banned the Even Paladin instead of the Malyghost Druid. But how do you feel about the bans there?
Yeah, we might just double check on those bans to see whose Paladin has been banned, because I would have expected shadowmisstep to ban Teebs' Even Paladin there as well. She doesn't really have an answer to the Even Paladin in her list. And given that we're playing Last Hero Standing, it's really important to be able to strongly counter each of your opponent's decks that you're leaving up. So
yes, I'm sorry, I did have those backwards there. So yes, it was the Even Paladin for Teebs that has been banned, and shadowmisstep's Druid that was banned. But yes, I still am a little unsure. I feel like maybe each Paladin would have been banned. So I'm a little interested to, maybe see how that plays out.
Yeah, I think for me, if I was Teebs I would have expected my Even Pally to be banned, given how strong it is against all Shadows lists. And I think I would have then then banned out Shadow's Zoo myself, just because without the even pally there, Teebs doesn't really have a super strong answer to Shadow's Zoo. So interesting that she's decided to ban out the Melee Druid instead.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if that maybe would come down to the mirror match, and she just maybe doesn't want to play out that mirror match.
It could be. There's some slight differences in the two Melee Druids list, and perhaps Teebs felt that hers might have been unfavored in the mirror there. So I think just quickly looking at them, Teebs has 2 Mind Control techs, which is not that great against a Melee Druid, and Shadow has an extra Ferocious Howl and an Invade in her list. So yeah. So we're just going to head into game 1 now. Let's see what the players have queued up here. Okay, so it looks like we've got shadowmisstep started off with her druid, and oh no, perhaps we've. I'm wondering if those lists are the wrong way. Yeah. So we're just going to flip the spectate here now, because it would be shadowmisstep on the zoo there at the top, and Teebs will be on the Melee Druid at the bottom there. So Shadow started off with a strong opener, getting out the 3/2 there. We've just dropped some visuals here, so it just won't be a moment while we join back in. Donnie, feel free to jump in if you can see the players at the moment.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, they're actually playing pretty quickly, it seems like. So we've already gone through the first several turns here. There was a Spellstone used from Teebs to remove a Flame Imp.
So shadowmisstep with 2 choices there, either the Tar Creeper or the Fungal Enchanter, which would have buffed up that Light Warden there. She chooses to go with the Tar Creeper.
No.
What do you see as Teebs' likely path here?
No, I just realized I actually can't see Teebs. So that's unfortunate. I'll have to get that fixed real quickly. If you could just go ahead and...
Yeah, sure, no worries. So shadowmisstep's just going with the Life Drinker there, which will buff that Light Warden, allowing her to get in some decent damage to Teebs there. Teebs has got the Nourish on 5 here, which we'd expect to see, especially with that ultimate infestation in her hand. Although, yeah, I think we'd expect to see Teebs coming out. The other option is she's just drawn into Swipe, which can allow her to remove some of the current broad pressure. She does have the Spreading Plague for next turn, so that'll put a nice roadblock in front of that damage that Shadow is getting in at the moment.
Yeah, it does seem really interesting to me that shadowmisstep has gotten a very aggressive opening.
It was aggressive, but because Teebs was able to have the answer to that initial Flame Imp, it then meant that there were a few 1-attack minions early on, which are not quite as probably the strong opening that Shadow would have liked to have at this point in game. Because of those 1-attack minions, she's going to have a hard time getting through the Spreading Plague when it comes down.
Very true. And Teebs did have that Nourish to be able to guarantee having enough mana to get to that Spreading Plague as well.
So Misstep choosing to tap here rather than playing out the Librarian Soul Infusion Enchanter. She's just going to play the Enchanter to further buff that Light Warden. And making it a 5/2 there, at least that will be able to punch straight through one of the Plague tokens. Now, she does... Well, unfortunately for her, Teebs has the perfect answer in drawing the Spellstone there. So yeah.
Came right at the perfect time.
So Teebs is down to 12 health, but this has offered potentially the stabilization that she needs here to be able to sort of get to some of her power turns, take some time to clear off Misstep's minion.
What to do?
Yeah, I think Shadow Misstep is probably going to start trying to look for fungal mancers, maybe even a Doom Guard, just to start trying to get through these plague minions.
And Teebs choosing there to neutralize and further bring down the damage on the board there.
Yeah, and Teebs does still have that coin, so it looks like she might even be going for a coin into UI next turn.
Yeah, well, with that Despicable Dreadlord coming down, that's the perfect target for a UI here. So
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised to see that.
Yeah, this is starting to look a little bit rough, I think, for Shadow Misstep. Teebs is just seeming to find all of those answers that Shirley needs to, like you said, keep that stabilization going.
She has drawn into a lot of her big minions there when she probably just wants ideally at this point just a couple of turns of removal to really take control of this board.
Shadow Misstep looking like she just wants to draw, see what she can find.
Yeah, she's really looking for a way to punch through through this board.
She really wants to find a fungal mancer. I think that would help get through a lot of these.
Yeah, going with the heal there before hitting into those one attack minions probably wasn't ideal, but she'll still be able to get through a few of them here now. And that's going to be one big Doom Guard coming at Teebs at some point in the future.
Might just be enough if she can get through these last few taunts here and push through with a big Doom Guard.
Yeah, and this board's looking really great for Teebs to swipe here, with a couple of 1 health minions and the 3/4 there. That'd allow her to trade into the 3/2, and she can completely clear this board with the swipe and the minions on board.
That was a lot of armor that Teebs just gained as well. Being able to fully clear this board, keep a taunt. Yeah. Looking pretty good here for Teebs, I'd say.
And on a comfortable 24 health now too.
It's playtime.
So Misstep's just going to play out her minions. Hope that Teebs doesn't have any answers to the 7/9 here.
Definitely a very big Doom Guard.
And Teebs is just going to go for it and counterpunch here, expecting that these 10 attack on board is just not going to get through her armor in time.
And even if Shadow Misstep is able to clear the board, Teebs has that Malygos double Moonfire in hand as well to follow up, so looking a little rough.
So Misstep here can take out the 5 attack minion, put the Void Worker down, and hope that that Teebs doesn't have any more removal in her hand. But yeah, we can see that that's not the case. And that Fungal Mancer is actually quite a good pickup here, allowing the trades into both minions. Oh, that's interesting. She chooses not to.
Yeah, I think she's just hoping that this taunt minion is just enough that she can maybe push through at the end, but it's not going to be enough.
Okay. And we see Teebs push the final damage there and takes the first game. So Teebs getting up 1-0 ahead with her Melee Druid. What would you expect to be? This is last hero standing, so Teebs will remain playing them with the Melee Druid. What would you expect Shadow to bring as her next deck, Thorny?
Hmm. I'm not even sure because I actually feel like that Zoo was probably the best bet against the Mally Druid.
Mm.
I think she's a little bit be a little bit rough there. Maybe she could bring the Odd Paladin. That would probably be the next bet. You know, just continue that aggression, try to get an early start, and hope that that early damage is enough to get there before that Mally Druid can stabilize like we saw last game.
Yeah, that was the zoo was definitely Shadow's most favored deck into Teebs' Melee Druid. So yeah, it's going to be a really uphill battle. She'll have to win an unfavorable with either the odd rogue or the odd pally to get back into the match here.
Mm-hmm. And I think one thing that's probably going to be working in Teebs' favor as well is having that double mind control tech in her list. So against those aggro decks, you know, even if she can't stabilize.
Okay, so we're going back into game, and we can see that Shadow Misstep has gone with the odd rogue here. So she'll just be hoping to push a lot of early damage. Surprised to see her throwing away the Fungalmancer there. That can be a really good way of buffing your minions to help punch through a spreading plague turn if that does come down. But she's obviously just going with the hit them early, hit them hard plan here. Teebs keeping the Naturalize there as an answer to one of Rogue's early power minions in the Hench Clan Thug or the Vicious Fledgling, and is rewarded on the rest of her Maligan with a swipe and a Spellstone pickup. So both players looking like they have strong starts here.
Unfortunately, I think it's unfavored here for Shadow Misstep. Definitely that hand that Teebs has is looking really good against aggro.
It is. And it's interesting that she's coined out the cold blood on that turn, rather than saving it for the next turn when her minion's about to attack. I guess maybe she's hoping to draw the Naturalize nice and early here, and then leave her Thug ready to hit on turn 4.
Yeah, it could be that against a Naturalize as well, or she could be thinking that if Teebs has the Spellstone, it just makes it a little bit more difficult. Teebs may not want to try to hit in and then finish off with the Spellstone and take so much damage with it being 5 attack immediately. I'm just going to tempo out the MC tech here.
Yeah, I think Teebs is just happy to be ahead on board at this point in time.
Definitely. Plus, with answers, like you said, that swipe in hand, still has that Spellstone.
So this is forced Shadow Misstep off the Hench Clan Thug on 3 turn, choosing instead to hit into the MCT and play some smaller minions out. What would you expect Teebs to go with here, Dorothy?
It's pretty interesting. I don't think that just a hero power down the South Sea deckhand and maybe just finish off that 1-2 with Spellstone. It's probably fine. Just keep that board clear.
Yeah, so she's going to go with the hero power, but then just trade off the MCT, just keeping that extra removal for the big problem minions. And Teebs is going to be rewarded by being patient with that swipe, because now she has the option of just playing that out and clearing this minion off nice and easily.
Yeah, and that Spellstone hasn't been buffed quite enough to build it up and take out that Hench Clan, so doesn't have that as an option here. Has to go with the swipe to take that out.
Job done.
And Shadow Misstep is playing very quickly too, a lot of these turns.
Yeah.
I think at this point, wow, just playing out the Spreading Plague for 1. Just to be able to get...
Does allow her to get down 2 Arcane Tyrants with the Fluked one there, so really valuing getting on board and getting ahead of
The light protects me.
the odd rogue here.
Yeah, and I think Shadow Misstep might really just want to try to get something to stick on board and be able to use this Fungal Mancer.
Well, she's seeing Teebs' hand get kind of low here, and Teebs hasn't had ramp up until the wild growth she's just picked up now. So I think Shadow Misstep's just hoping she can, stick what she's got now and really start to push some damage face before we get to that point that we saw last game where Teebs was able to just re-swing the board state.
Yeah. One
We
thing.
do see. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, you're fine.
I was just going to say, if we do see the Lich King come down next turn, though, she might regret using that Vile Spine Slayer on the 1/5 there.
What to do?
Yeah. It's can be very interesting to see what Teebs would get from that Lich King. One thing that we're seeing that's a little bit different than last game for Shadow Misstep is it seems like Shadow Misstep's hand has actually been a little more full this game, I'd say. Last game it seemed like she kind of ran out of steam a lot faster. This game it seems like she's actually been able to keep some cards in her hand, which I think has helped her keep swinging the board back in her favor, or trying at least.
Yeah, and we saw the opposite for Teebs in the last game. She had a lot of card draw with the WI in hand early and some ramp to get to it, whereas this game she really hasn't had any yet. So she'll be hoping to pick up something like a UI or even a Nourish off the top to reload her hand.
Well, just dropping the Malygos down, getting that out there.
And here I think she's hoping to draw out the Vile Spine if there is another one in hand, so that the Lich King will then stick on the next turn. But as we can see, Shadow doesn't have that as an option, so she might just choose to either ignore this melee and just push some damage to face, or she's hovering over Leroy there. I wonder if she's thinking about just trying to clear. She might just be adding up what she needs to finish out this game.
Yeah, I do like this play here as well, but I think using that Fungal Mancer to buff up the taunt is pretty good here as well, just in case there is this attack with the Malygos plus a hero power, or branching paths that Teebs might use to give that Malygos one attack that could easily get through that taunt. So I do like this play here, forcing multiple trades or multiple resources to be used to just get through this one taunt.
Yeah. Yeah, I think definitely sensing that Teebs didn't have a lot of options at the time in terms of she had to tempo out that melee there. I think that was the right play to push the damage there, but unfortunately drawing the UI off the top allowed a lot of that board to be cleared with the melee spell damage there. So Shadow's got the option of Void Rippering here and getting rid of that melee, which always seems good when you can get that off the board. Does mean she takes 10 damage though, so she's going to be on the back foot now in terms of her health total.
Yeah, she's just going to try to swing it back in her favor though, just try to push that damage. Looks like maybe she's really debating here. She decides to trade.
Yeah, I think she really wanted to push that face, but then she looked at her life total and realized that maybe she didn't have the luxury of doing that.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay, you go.
I was just going to say, looking at a lot of Teebs' cards and that we've not only seen in the past, but also in hand, Teebs definitely has a very nice golden collection going on there. Those are always fun.
Teebs has actually got lethal here with the double branching path, hero power, moonfire.
Yeah.
So really nice. Really nice pressure by putting out that melee and forcing Shadow to have the answer to it there.
Exactly. And I think that may have been a really nice switch there, instead of having that Lich King out like we had talked about. Oh, yeah. So now Shadow Misstep is down the Heal Zoo and this Odd Rogue. So
yeah, so she'll be on her Odd Pally, attempting to get the reverse sweep. And I don't know if people saw last night's EU match, that we saw a similar situation there where the player was 2-0 down and we ended up with a 3-2 game. So if you haven't caught that one yet, go back and watch the Badass Woman of Hearthstone VODs, because that was a great match there. Okay, so looking at this, Teebs again, no ramp, but has chosen to keep the MCT, which we talked about earlier as being a great card in this matchup. Shadow's got some strong opening 1-attack minions. She'll be looking at hopefully picking up some buffs in the next couple of turns to really make them stronger.
yeah, definitely. I think that Void Ripper could come in handy too if potentially an early swipe comes out, or if Shadow Misstep just is feeling like Teebs might not have that removal. Shadow Misstep has that ability, or if she saves it for after a Spreading Plague, it could be pretty scary for Teebs.
Yeah, Void Ripper is a great card against Spreading Plague for the Odd Pally. They do often need to trade off their board to get through it, but it just allows them to reset, as opposed to being stuck behind those 1/5s for several turns. So with the raid leader here, Misstep's just looking to jam as much damage face before the melee druid has answers. And we can see, unlike the last game, she doesn't have the early swipe in hand yet, so potentially a good strategy. But with that MCT and the Spellstone there, Teebs has been able to flip the board and get back on top of things.
Also, having that Floop in hand that's now an additional MCT could be a little scary, and I'm not sure if that's something that Shadow Misstep would necessarily play around.
Yeah,
having
exactly.
that Floop is another one.
She'll know that Teebs kept that card, but she won't necessarily know that is the Floop there, so she might be expecting it to be early removal or something like a swipe. Interesting that she went with the Void Ripper there, because that would have played into swipe a lot. Like, her board was fabulous for a swipe that turn. So seeing Teebs clear it off with the weapon there, she might now have a read that Teebs doesn't have a swipe in hand. And she's choosing to go wide into the Spreading Plague turn here. How do you feel about that, Donnie?
I'm not sure. I think her reasoning here is probably she's just trying to clear as much of her hand out as she can to try to get hopefully as big of a Divine Favor as she can. Try to draw some more cards. Maybe hope that Teebs just doesn't have that Spreading Plague.
Yeah, I really would have liked to have seen her hold on to the Void Ripper for just this situation. I don't know, every time I play Odd Pally against a druid like this, they always seem to have the Spreading Plague on 6, so... Yeah. But she is going to get 3 cards here off the Divine Favor.
Ooh.
And
those
look, that's...
Shields.
Yeah, they're not bad cards to pick up. Having the Lost in the Jungle, the level up, and then getting the Divine Shields potentially on all her minions. Teebs will be able to clear off all of this board here if she wants to, which I imagine she will here.
Yeah. And it's possible that earlier Shadow Misstep may have seen Teebs just clearing the board with the minions. Teebs played out that weapon and traded into a minion, so maybe she thought that Teebs didn't have that Spreading Plague, so that she was trying to clear off as many minions as possible so that she wouldn't have to play a Spreading Plague. But,
yeah, I mean, this is quite nice here. If Teebs had less on board, getting the Divine Shield on these minions with 2 level up in hand feels really good. But unfortunately, Teebs is just going to be able to clear her way through most of this board, so she can leave it with just one minion up if she likes, and also push 4 damage to the face, or she can take off the Divine Shield off the other one.
Yeah, and I think having this UI in hand with the Malygos on board is a little scary here.
And the twig's also on one attack, so next turn she can UI and then break her twig and have another 10 mana to spare, which is just going to be
Yeah,
amazing.
exactly.
So Misstep picks up her second Void Ripper there, which she probably would have loved to have seen a couple of turns ago, but still not terrible here. But looking at the damage on the other side of the board, I think we might just have lethal here.
It looks like it. Wow, that was a really fast game.
It was.
So Teebs just takes a very quick 3-0.
Yeah, so some really strong play by Teebs there, taking the series 3-0 with her Melee Druid. Yeah. What did you think of that, Donnie? Was there anything that Shadow could have done differently to swing it back there, or do you think that that Teebs just had the tools that she needed at the time that they came out?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I think those second two games especially, Teebs just had some really good tools against the aggro. And, you know, I think personally I probably would have played that Paladin and the Rogue in the reverse order that Shadow Misstep did. You know, put out that Paladin first and then try to get there. But yeah, that was just a little bit rough. And you know, like I said, she did play it fairly quickly, so I'm not sure if there were any sequencing errors or anything that she misplayed a little bit because she was playing quickly. Maybe if she had slowed down, you know, thought about some of those lines more, like you mentioned, maybe things like holding that Void Ripper, you know, another turn or two instead of, you know, playing it early to try to play around that spreading plague could have made a difference earlier in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely always hard when you have an aggro line up into something like Melee Druid where you know you're just really pushing to be able to get through the damage early on, and you have to take chances like going wide where something like a spreading plague just really does almost end the game in those matches. So yeah, a bit of a tricky one with the lineups that they'd brought. Now you would have noticed that that this week we were still playing Broomsday meta cards, and that was because the decks were submitted before the new expansion came out. Next week we'll have for you all new expansion, some exciting Rumble cards to join in. So is there anything that you've particularly been enjoying playing in the new expansion so far, dragonrider?
Oh boy, all of the things. It's been fun just having new cards to play with and just experimenting with stuff and trying to see what works and what doesn't. You know, but one thing that I really do love about this tournament in particular is that even if, you know, let's say like here for example, Shadow Misstep, she did end up taking that 0-3 loss this week, but there's a chance that she could actually win some packs just because she played her match. And that goes for any of the women that are playing in this tournament, whether they win or lose. There's chances for them to win some prizes. You know, maybe be on these streams. There's chances for us to be able to cast, and plenty of different prizes and things like that as well. So definitely a great opportunity, and it's awesome to see the involvement that the community has had.
Yeah, it's a really fabulous, supportive tournament structure, and I'd really like to thank everyone who's being involved in putting it all together, especially Afira, who's done a magnificent job in taking Toast the Badger's dream and really making it a reality here. So, yeah, I know my matches that you know where I've lost, I've had great chats with players afterwards. It's been really lovely to get to know some other women playing Hearthstone, and I've really enjoyed playing in the tournament so far. As well as that, because we are playing Swiss, that means that no one's out at this point. So Shadow definitely has a strong chance. She won week one, both her and Teebs did, so she's still well in the running for the major prizes of the tournament, which are that each bracket, so both the EU and the NA, has a prize pool of €1,000, which is split between players 1 to 4. And the winner also receives a DreamHack ticket. But as you mentioned, we've got a number of prizes that the players are eligible for just for playing each week. So there's some Hearthstone packs. some coaching by Terrence M and Teebs. So you've seen Teebs how well she played today. You two could be coached by her, and she can teach you how to do that too.
Yeah, definitely. That would be pretty amazing. And I think a lot of the players, would appreciate that. And that's a really cool thing that I think, some of the community members are bringing together. And I just also want to say thank you to those who have been tuning in to the streams, who have been supporting all of the women who have been playing, because that's really great to see everybody just supporting each other and really making this a big thing. And also a big shout out and thank you to Brasky for producing the stream tonight. He did an amazing job. And
Thanks,
no
Brasky.
matter how good or bad, our casting may have been, hopefully it was good for everyone. But it's very difficult without seeing it, so thank you to him.
So I think you've done a great job, dragonrider. So thank you so much for casting with me. If you'd like to see more of our streams, you can follow the Badass Women of Hearthstone Twitch at Badass Woman HS, or you can follow us at the same on Twitter at Badass Woman HS, and there'll be tweets when the stream goes live. Generally, we're expecting to see at least one, perhaps two streams every weekend. So I definitely invite you to come back for more exciting Hearthstone next weekend. So on behalf of Dragonrider and myself, thanks very much for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.